Okay, so here we have popping out of the ground, we have a new little potato. And what I want to explain is that the potatoes do sometimes form on the surface of the soil. And if this gets exposed to the sunlight, it's going to turn green. And that green is kind of toxic. You're really not supposed to eat it. You can peel it away and the potato's fine, don't throw it away, but you waste a lot of potato meat in doing that. So what I recommend to people, when the potatoes are in their forming stages, when they're flowering, when they're big and green like this, if you can manage to get in here, and we should have done this probably 10 days ago, come in and just take some soil from the outside row and just cover up those potatoes to keep the sun from getting on them. When you see the crop is as big as it is right now and full of foliage, you don't really worry about it because the leaves are protecting the potato from the sun. But as they mature, these leaves and these stems are going to brown out. They're going to just sort of dry up. They're going to flop over. This place is going to look ugly. You're going to think, oh my God, what happened to my potatoes? They look like they're dead. Well, that's because the potatoes have formed and they're done growing, and the plant says, okay, I did my job, I got my potatoes, I don't need to be here anymore. And they just sort of quit. And it's at that point when these all dry up, the leaves are all dried up, that the sun is going to penetrate down and it's going to hit these potatoes that are exposed. So make sure that you come through, and that's what, when they say hilling a potato, that's really what they mean. You don't actually have to plant the potatoes in hills, but what you have to do is you have to sort of hill around the potato and cover up those that are showing exposed to the surface. Now, if you want to harvest for a nice little young new dinner, we actually have 2 potatoes here that are forming. And you have to be careful. You don't want to come in with a shovel and just, dig right through. But they're connected, and you kind of have to give it a little pull. But here's your little new potato.
Oh my gosh,
right?
so exciting.
Right? And here's another one coming over here. We might leave that one just to grow a little bit more. So I'm going to cover it back up. And the other thing that I just want to mention before you go away is that this that I'm using right here to cover it up, this is actually cotton burr compost. We sell it here at Countryside. We use it in our garden every year in the rows between the plants. I have to tell you, this is July 12th. We virtually have not had to weed the garden, literally. There's a few weeds we've had to pull up and maybe occasionally do a little hoeing of some little low-growing stuff. But this stuff works great. It holds the moisture in. I have watered the garden once with soaker hoses, and I have not had to weed. And it adds organic matter to the soil. It decomposes. We just rototill this back in next spring, and it ends up leaving us with a really nice loamy garden soil. So remember, it's called cotton burr compost. We sell it here, and you're going to want to use it next year. You won't have a problem with weeds with that. So happy gardening. See you next time.